I'm Kevin Eikenberry, and I'm here to help you reach your potential as a leader and a human being. Welcome to Remarkable TV. Today we're talking about what I've learned about leading remotely. Are you ready? Let's get started. Today, as this video is being released on June the 5th, 2018, my new book, The Long Distance Leader with Wayne Trammell, is being released. So I am not here to give you a full synopsis of the book, but to commemorate the occasion, I thought I'd share a couple of ideas with you from this book that will be helpful to you if you lead a team remotely. And here's the first of those ideas: clearer expectations. In previous episodes of Remarkable TV and in my work with leaders around the world, I have often said how important clear expectations are. And they are. It's a foundational principle for leaders to be more effective. So why am I bringing it up again today in the context of remote leadership? Well, because if it's possible, having clearer expectations is even more important in that situation. See, for any leader in any situation, we must have clear expectations about what needs to be done, about the quality and the quantity of the work. Productivity levels, safety levels, being legal, being ethical, all of those sorts of things. And those are always important. But when we're leading remotely, we also need expectations about how we're going to get things done. How are we going to communicate? What's that all going to look like? And the how of the job is important as well. Now, I am not saying that we should start to micromanage our folks. What I am saying is if someone is out there somewhere and they don't see you all of the time, they are much less likely to just reach out and check in, and you may be less likely to do the same. And so we have to have clear expectations about how we're going to do it, how frequently we're going to do it, and a whole lot more. So clearer expectations, not just about what's, but about how's. The second big thing I've learned is that if you want to lead more effectively remotely, you have to make more intentional choices. See, when people are in the building, they see you, and you will have the conversation along the way that will clear up little things. But if I want to check in with you, if I need to ask you a question, I need to get it down on my list. It's not going to pop into my head when I see you down the hall. If you are working from your house, if you're working from a client site, if you're out in the field, I need to be intentional about making sure I talk to you about those things, or I might not do it. I've got to be more intentional about not only when and what I communicate about, but the tools that I use to do it. You've all seen email misused and become ineffective. So I've got to make sure that the tools I'm choosing are the right ones to get my message across. I've got to be more intentional about how and when I give feedback. I've got to be intentional about a whole bunch of stuff if I want to be more effective in leading members of my team who are remote from me, and they remote from me too. Now, a number of years ago, in his book, In Search of Excellence with Bob Waterman, they famously wrote about this idea of MBWA, managing by wandering around. And they said one of the best ways that you can lead and manage is to spend time with your folks, wandering around and checking in. And since 1982, people have been saying that makes a lot of sense, and it does. And it's pretty hard to do that when you got some people in Peoria, some people in Paducah, some people in Paris, and some people who knows where. So managing by wandering around may not be the right answer. So in my last conversation with Tom Peters, we talked about managing by phoning around, but I'm going to call it leading by phoning around, LBPA. We can't just wander around. We've got to be intentional about picking up the phone and checking in with people, having a conversation, seeing how things are going, giving them some feedback and asking for feedback back, doing the things that we might be able to do wandering around the cubicles or down the hallway or on the shop floor. We've got to do that with our phone now, leading by phoning around. Or maybe even more important and more intentional would be what I call LBW, leading by webcam. In other words, Can we have a richer conversation by getting on our webcams and being able to see our facial expressions, see each other smile, etc.? And the answer is yes. But that's not going to happen automatically. That's another intentional choice that we might consider. So let me close this short video about some of the key things I've learned about leading remotely with a tweet. Effectively leading remotely requires clearer expectations and far more intentional choices. So we've been talking about leading remotely, and so if this has been interesting to you, or you know someone that would be interested in it, then they need a copy, don't they, of The Long Distance Leader, Rules for Remarkable Remote Leadership. You'll see the link here where you can get all the information you need, or you can just hear it right now, longdistanceleaderbook.com. I'll be back next week with another episode of Remarkable TV.